Hey everybody, Charlie here with Empowering Women in Industry. And I have such an amazing guest. You probably know her, but I wanted to share a little bit of her story with you today. And I was so excited. We went to Atlanta area and we got together with all these women in Seroptimus. So we definitely are going to talk about that. But I love the energy that Kacie gives, and I can't wait to share her with you. So, Kacie, if you'll just jump on here and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Kacie Obradovich. Yeah, I do a little bit of everything. I'm a mom of two. I've got a graduating senior and a freshman this year. So we're having a year of first and last. And a lot of, like Charlie said, a lot of things happening with Sir Optimist. Really involved in that and have been. And I've been owning a retail store for maybe about 10 years now, maybe just over. I'm actually was interior designer by trade and got into retail. And that's really where I think my passion and my career took off.
I love that. And so the name of her business is Confetti. And I absolutely love that. So if you ever think of like a party, right? Confetti's like this is really Kacie's brand. She is just so much fun, brings the energy, and just also I love that part about interior design because you make things look good. And that I think that's part of it too. So tell us why you started your business.
So actually, we purchased an existing business. So back before I even had children, my husband played professional baseball, so we were kind of in and out. We didn't live here year round. So I had my degree, but I wasn't really in a place to start a career and work for a company because we moved a lot. So I started working for the cutest little baby store ever. Loved it. It never felt like work. And an opportunity came up to buy it, and it didn't work out at that time. Thankfully, it probably was not the right time for us. Years later, the opportunity presented itself again. And I don't know if it was the right time or not, but we stuck with it that time. We did it. We worked through a lot of, we moved the business several times and it's had a lot of ups and downs, but we kind of really found our spot. Maybe about 7 years ago, I guess, we moved to this location and it's grown ever since. So we bought a baby business, we moved it and rebranded it to expand to children. And someone we renovated a space in downtown location. We put a lot of money into it. And one day my landlord called and said, there's somebody that was really interested in your space. And at the time, my dad was not doing well. And I thought maybe this is a great opportunity to get out. The business was really kind of struggling, but we'd put so much into it in the renovation, we just couldn't walk away. And that's what I said. They said, well, they're willing to pay you to move. And so we said, well, that's a different matter.
Yeah.
So we took the money, relocated to a much smaller location. We still thought we were furniture, but where we ended up, people were coming in every day just wanting a quick gift. And so we really evolved into what we are today. And we moved to a different end of the shopping center about a year and a half ago because we had outgrown the other one. And that's when we really found our feet. We knew what we were, we knew what we had to offer our community. And so that's really when I think we started to thrive.
Yeah, and I think about when I met you, and it was in that not this location, but the one right before that. You talked a little bit about kind of the ups and downs, and I think that that is part of business, and it's also being present. So you were there all the time. I'd come in there, and you were there to see what they needed to talk to just advise like what gift we should get because I'm terrible at that. So I love somebody to help me like what do I buy here? But then just try to create these fun moments to bring people in too. And everything can kind of see or you can see it around an occasion, if you will. And so I just remember, coming in there and needing a gift and you had it covered and it
Yeah.
was in a beautiful bag. I didn't even have to like worry like how am I going to get this to the house that I'm going to right after this purchase, right? So yeah, I mean, so there is that struggle, kind of that ups and downs in business, and you have to kind of commit, right? When you say that.
Right. Absolutely. You just have to be willing to adapt and change and evaluate. You have to constantly self evaluate. And I think you have to have a lot of faith and commitment to yourself and you're on the right path, but you also have to be willing to accept and look at the things you're not doing well, right? It's not a failure. It's not, you're not good at this, but you've got to highlight the things you're good at and push toward that, cut out the things that maybe, they always tell you in retail, you can't purchase the things that you love. You have to purchase what and offer what other people want. So it's a fine line because you want it to represent you, but you also want to serve the people that are coming in to support you. So you have to have a lot of commitment and faith, but you also have to be willing to realize you're not always right, and just keep changing. I would say we really were up and down. It was just really hard up until about COVID, and then um, we really had to adapt. We had to figure it out because I'll throw a quick pity party, but I get right back up. I just refuse to be beat by anything. Like I'm going to go out on a high. I'm never going to call it or fold in a low. And so it was just a really sink or swim. For us, we do a lot of children's gifts, a lot of Easter baskets and things like that. And so being Easter time, we just started doing a lot of videos on Facebook and lives and showing things in combinations. I was delivering packages to doorsteps. I was doing curbside pickup. We were doing, and I say we, I was the only employee, but I was doing everything that I could to keep that connection and keep our customers engaged. They wanted to support local businesses. And so we stepped up every way that we knew how to do that. And I think that's really when we grew because you can, I know a lot of people are diehard Amazon people, and that's fine. But they kind of slipped off and they weren't able to fulfill. Like I know that Christmas we had so many customers who had ordered stuff from Amazon that never came, and they were back into small businesses, local, trying to make Christmas happen. And so we really stepped in at a time and stepped up to serve our community, and that continued to follow us after COVID. I think that's really when um, we really hit our stride as far as the business.
Yeah, and so you're doing that. You're all in basically. And
Mhm.
if you meet Kacie, she's a little bit competitive too. So I love that. Love that. She is not.
Friendly in a positive way.
Absolutely. I mean, competition is good. That's how we get better. I think that the part about you doing that is so important, proving to yourself. And then what happens, you grow until where you do need team members. And so we see it now. You've got a team of people helping you, which is wonderful because y'all, she is the one doing all these videos, and we know how much I talk about this a lot on my channels, personal branding, social media, and you are leading in that in this space, and I love that. And so you had to have time to be able to continue to grow your brand like that. So tell us about that shift to your team.
That's always I'm such a doer. Delegation has never been my strong suit, but as I get older, I definitely know. I tell people all the time, I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at, and I'm happy to turn over the things that I'm not good at. It's much better in someone else's hands than it is mine. So that's something with, I guess, age that I've gotten better at. Um, I have to really, and my mother-in-law works with me almost every day, and I have to do the same for her. If we're doing an activity that doesn't require our experience and knowledge, I have to tell her, put that down. When the girls get here, we'll put that on their list. They can help us with that. So I have to really think through, what do I have to do? Like, what needs me specifically? What can anybody do that can be done later today or tomorrow when my younger girls come in? I have to really prioritize those activities. I'm not always great at it, but I'm trying really hard. When I catch myself doing something like making, gift bags or making bows, I'm like, is this the best use of my time? And a lot of times it's not. I have to put that on a list, put it in the back. You probably see my boards behind me. Put that on a list for someone else to do. So that's really hard when you're used to doing everything and you see like an immediate need, like there's no gift bags ready. Like I want to run, go get them because that's just the person I am. And that's really hard. I have to really filter my activities, and that's going to be a constant struggle for me. But I think having a team is great. It just takes a lot of retraining your own brain when for years you did it all.
That's right. And it's so important. It's okay. What is it? Go through the list. Y'all listen, if y'all are the ones doing all the work here, just go through that list. Whether you can afford it or not right now to hire help, and just make it, what is something that somebody else could do that, there's your wheelhouse, like she said, but what could anybody else do this part of the business? And that's where pick up that next person to help you out. And that's
That
the same.
trigger for me that trigger for me as far as that point is I realized that I was losing money by not having help. And I knew that like I couldn't do it all. We had grown enough, and I thought, the cost of hiring someone else would make me more money because then I could spend more time at making the videos, doing purchasing the stuff and getting it when we needed. When that just helping people constantly and being out front, when I realized that that was taking time away from activities required to grow my business, that's when I knew, it would be cheaper for me to have an employee than it
Yeah.
would be to do everything.
Yeah, and it's a different energy. Like you can't be in task mode and performance mode. Those are completely
Right.
different energies. And you've got a lot of other things going on. I do want to talk about Seroptimus. I had never heard of it before. I signed up to participate because I think you're awesome and I wanted to support you. But you're doing so many amazing things for women and girls. Can you tell us a little bit about the organization?
Absolutely. So, Seroptimus International has been around. We celebrated 100 years last year, so we have a huge history. The focus has always been on women and girls. We're in 120 countries around the world, but our local Tuscaloosa chapter was started in 1972, and my mother was actually a charter member of that club. So, we've been helping women and girls since then. I mean, a lot of our programs have changed and evolved over the years. And now we really realize that education is a big focus for us, um, in every different way, whether it's skills training. We just know that if we give girls access to education and empowerment through that, that they are better set to provide for themselves, provide for their families, and with that comes a confidence um, in planning a future and dreaming big and accomplishing things. So we have two main programs that we do. Our Live Your Dream is a cash scholarship that we give to women who are pursuing a undergraduate degree or some type of training, skills training certification. And this female has to be the primary financial earner for her family. So it could be a single mom, it could be someone who cares for parents who are unable to work, or a spouse that's unable to work. We've done this for years, and we usually give 2 to 3 awards. This past year, we awarded 5. Um, these women have to go through an application process. They're evaluated by multiple people. And through the years, we've made some just incredible connections with women who, one thing we really look for are women with a plan. We want someone who knows where they're going, they know the steps to get there, and this will just help them get to that point a little more easily, a little faster. We had a female who was wanting to, I don't remember the name of the degree, but it was in like medical records. She already worked in the doctor's office. She knew exactly how many semesters it was going to take. She had a young son, but she was working full time also. And she said, this just helped me graduate. I think she said almost a year earlier, and get out into the workforce to provide for her family, because she could not um, pay for more than maybe a class or two at a time for the books and for tuition. It was just something that she had to save for and plan, and she had a very elaborate plan. And those are the women that we really want to help. They're going to be successful with or without us, but we want to help them get there a little bit faster, take that load off so that they are not so burnt out when they reach that goal. And I think sometimes they just need a pat on the back to know that they're seen, that people see how hard they're working and sacrificing, and just give them that validation that they're on the right path and they're going to get there.
Yeah.
Our other program is the Dream It Be It, and we really love this one. It's geared toward girls like 13 to 17. Um, they're young enough to still dream this dream for themselves. Maybe they're not quite as jaded yet as when they get older. And so we start with a dream board, and we ask them, like, what if you could imagine any future, what would that look like if you could do anything in the world? Because that's what we tell girls, right? You can do anything you want to do, you can be anything you want to be. But the problem is we don't always give them the skills and the tools to do that. So what this program does, it's 7 sessions. We've done it before where we picked maybe 4 and did on a Saturday. We've also done it where we went and did one every week for 7 weeks. We did it with the Boys and Girls Club this past semester, or last semester, I guess. Um, and we talk about goal setting and what's a SMART goal. And it's amazing when you tell these girls the acronyms of this. We would ask them 3 weeks later, who can tell me what S stands for? And they all could shout it. I mean, they were such a sponge for this information. But we talk about setting SMART goals, what makes a goal achievable. We talk about overcoming obstacles. We talk about managing stress. We talk about falling forward. When you fail, it's not the end, it's just a learning process towards your goal. Um, and we talk about personal values, which I think is so important. I don't think anybody ever talked to me about this when I was picking a career, but we kind of played a fun game because they're young. And we said, what do you like, pancakes or waffles? You're picking all these things. And we say, perfect hair and makeup or an extra 30 minutes of sleep in the morning. Do you like to be on a set schedule? Do you like to just do your homework whenever you want to do it? And so we were trying to make them kind of think through, because they'll all tell you, oh, I want to do this when I grow up. But what we are trying to make them think is that if you would rather have a flexible schedule, you're not going to want to be a teacher. You have to be there a certain time. It's over at a certain time. It's a very set schedule. And having them think through some of those things that are important to them and how that applies to a career that they might choose. So, so much great information. And I think the point of that is that, we're also really involved in human trafficking, in supporting our task force here. And what we hoped that this program will do is empower these girls to dream bigger for themselves, because I think when they have a confidence, they're less likely to fall into the traps that lead them toward human trafficking and some of these other situations. So we want to support the women who are older toward education. We also want to create a different foundation for girls that give them better opportunities.
And they are, under your leadership, the group is really growing. Our membership
Mhm.
was one of the top at the conference we went to. And I think that we're able to do that. We're able to give back to the community. Like you said, with the human trafficking awareness program was awesome, of just like, hey, this is in our backyard. But then actually generating funds through a vendor event to give to
Mhm.
the task force was amazing to see. And just,
Yeah.
putting, it does take funds for us to go to that next level. And that's what this program has really do- have a little echo on there. So sorry about that. But tell me, okay, so you're going into the role of governor. So kind of stepping up, you led our team and now you're going to be leading this region. So tell us what you hope to accomplish as governor.
So I'll be the governor
Governor
elect
elect.
for two
Sorry about
years. Yeah. Well, you're elect 2 years and then governor 2 years. So, um, like I said, our organization's been around for over 100 years, and a lot of our clubs have had members who, our region will be Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi. I think that's it. I think Bahamas, but we don't have anybody in the Bahamas. Um, and so we have a lot of members who have been around for decades, and so much has changed in that time that I'm hoping that um, we can help guide our members through some transition. I think, back when I was a member, I feel like I've always been a member because of my mom. There's never been a time I didn't know who Seroptimist was, but I've been an actual member for about 13 years. And we used to, anybody in Tuscaloosa probably remembers the Brunch for Boobs. It was a fundraiser we did for probably more than 40 years. And we used to sit down and handwrite invitations. We'd stuff the envelopes, put the return postage on there, and we met at someone's house and we had chicken salad finger sandwiches, and it was this whole thing. And back in the day, that's what you did. But today, we don't have to spend that energy on that. Our energy should be spent doing our Dream It Be It and meeting with those girls, and more hands on getting work done. And so I think one of the biggest things that I can help our clubs understand is, let's cut out the things that are unnecessary, that take our energy away from what really matters, and kind of transitioning to them. There's so many things that we haven't accessed. Zoom, we all had to join Zoom when the world shut down for meetings. But there are so many other ways that we can grow in our technology and how we can be more productive with our time. And I think also just new energy and new ideas. A lot of our clubs have been doing the same thing for so long that maybe helping them rethink how they have meetings. I think what's been really successful for us and our growth is just we have a pretty casual meeting, um, and we enjoy spending time with each other. I think some of our meetings in our other clubs are still really formal. And when you're trying to get younger women in, people who have kids, like that's kind of hard for us to step into that. We want a more vibrant atmosphere, and so I think just helping people rethink things. I would really love to see our membership grow and soar, because the more women we have, the more resources we all have. The connection to people is so great. I would love for us to have more women to connect with. And that's just ultimately more women to go out and do our mission, which is, helping women and girls.
And if somebody listens to this and they want to get involved, what should they do?
They can they can email us. They can find us on Facebook or Instagram. It's Seroptimist, of Tuscaloosa. Again, there are 120 clubs around the world, so make sure it's the Tuscaloosa one you message. And if you're not in Tuscaloosa, you can go. I think it's seroptimist.org is the the main one, or Seroptimist SR for Southern Region is our Southern Region website, and look where there are clubs. There may be one near you. Another big push that we really want to do is charter new clubs. We just chartered a new club in Florida. We're in the works of doing one in Peachtree City, Georgia. We would love to start some new clubs in our Southern Region. It only takes 12 women who are passionate about helping women and girls. There's a whole blueprint of how to do it. We have a team of a whole committee of membership people who this is what they're going to help do. They're going to help get you the information and walk you through the steps. And because we just recently chartered some new ones, I think they've got it. They know what to do. And so we would love, I mean, if you're in a different area, I know a lot of big cities have big organizations that people want to join. There's plenty of space there as well. If you're a smaller community and you've got 12 to 15 women who you think would want to get together and help women in their community, reach out. We'll help, happy to give you information. We also do, we don't just do those programs. You're well, you know, we do anything focused on women and girls. So
But
if you think,
they're
oh, I
awesome
have,
programs. And I'll just say
yeah,
put a link in the show notes so that everybody can have that
yeah,
information. I say show notes because I was going to do this as a podcast, but in the the messages, we'll make sure that you have
yeah.
that. Okay, I do want to make sure that I ask you about advice for our business women out there, or just business advice in general. It really doesn't matter. It works across the board. But for business owners out there, what is some advice you would give them?
Whew, that's a tough one. Because there's so much. Yeah, I think don't let your pride get in the way when you're trying to run a business. If you try something and it doesn't work, move on. Like, don't get caught up in the failure. And I think we teach the girls fall forward, take what you need to learn from that lesson. Don't make this mistake again and move forward. But like, if you really feel strongly about something, keep working at it till you get there. You know, if you have a vision of what you think this should be, keep at it. Now you might try different types. You know, for us, we try certain types of advertising. Now, don't think that you're going to do it once and see immediate results. Give it time. If you have an idea, give it time to work or not work. Don't, you can't spend however much 1 month on advertising and say, well, I didn't see anything from it. You're going to have to give it time. Um, but you just always have to be able to step back in the big picture and be like, that was not a great idea. Other people do not care about that the way I care about it, and move on, and don't beat yourself up over it. You know, just take what you can from it and move forward. Don't get hung up on things.
I also just love your authenticity, like how you do the videos, how you show up. Sometimes you are super happy all the time. Sometimes you're like, this is a crap day. I'm going to let you know, like, we're all real out there. And so I actually really am drawn to that because it's truth and we know it. And especially as a business owner, the ups and downs of that, but there's a little bit of that you're just like, high five, you got it. You know, you want to encourage each other, but you also just want people to know that like this isn't all good and easy because when they get to that point, we the other side is it will come back, right? Keep doing the work, it'll come back. And so, how do you continue to show up as yourself? And then, just what advice for women in showing up as themselves?
I think one thing, and this goes along with some great advice, I should have included this. It's really easy, especially if you have a business like mine where you're in front of people. It's a service. I consider us a service. Um, to see other businesses similar to yours and compare. Um, I do watch I do watch other stores in our area, but from a viewpoint of not being the same as everyone else. I want to know what they carry for one, so I don't carry the same things. I also, when someone calls me and asks for something that we don't have, I would rather direct them to another local business than online. So I do want to kind of have an idea who might could help them in our community. But I have to really draw the line there. I used to think, oh my gosh, their whole Instagram is perfect. Their pictures are incredible. Like, they look like they had a photographer come in. And I used to get really, I mean, kind of hard on myself and think, oh, I need to do a better job of this. But what I realized, to be honest, and I used to record videos and I kept recording till I thought they were just right. What I realized is that I don't have the time or the energy to do that. I don't have the energy to be something I'm not. And people say, oh, I love when you do videos. It's so helpful to see this and this and this. And I realized it's much more important for me to do them and just be who I was that day than to be something I wasn't, because I just don't have it in me. I did too many things to put up extra energy into being this perfect thing that I want to represent. So I think that's the thing. Don't, and that's the whole, don't spend energy on things that you don't need to. Don't spend energy on being perfect or being someone else. It will suck the life out of you. Put your energy into being yourself and delivering what people want from you. And if they're not into your style or brand, I can be a lot. My husband's like, you're great, but you're a lot. I'm like, I know it. And if I'm a lot for people, that's fine. There are plenty of other opportunities for you to shop for people that are less sporadic than me. But if you are, and most of our customers are moms, they have small children, they understand the grind of the day. Like I might be coming in on two wheels at 9:59, dashing to that door, you're waiting on me. Like that's what it is some days. But I think most of our customers are in that same boat and they understand. And I think that's why they like us, because people come in sometimes like, I've been working in the yard, like, don't look at me. I'm like, we don't care. Like, I've never once, somebody has never walked in my store and I'm like, what are they wearing? We do not care. We just want to welcome people. There are days that I come step up from pajamas because I know that I've got 40 boxes coming. I'm going to be dirty. I'm going to be sitting on the floor. I just be who you are, be your business as it is, and let that be reflected in anything that you push out there, social media, ads. It's just really, it's not worth your time to be somebody else.
Yeah, and when you are yourself, that's when you're gonna grow because people can tell when
Mhm.
you're faking through that. You think you're, putting on this great face, but people can tell. And so there's this energy that comes that does propel you and your business forward. And so you showing up for people during COVID, and being there because we needed you, that it sticks with it sticks with people. And then you are showing up for the women and girls of our community and beyond just Tuscaloosa. So y'all get involved. I think it's a really great program. I loved, being able to hear that it's, international, that they're doing work in, Africa now. I mean, that was one of, if y'all know me, that's one of my passion places now because I've been there. But there's so much that you can do when you lean on each other. And so that's what I see in this organization and Kacie. So Kacie, thank you for being here today. I
Yeah.
absolutely love the conversation. I could talk to you all day. But we'll let this in. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I just think if you're interested in getting involved in the community, whether it's through us, we'd love to talk to you, or someone else. I think some people feel like they have to have a lot of time, or when they're retired, that they'll really pour themselves into something else. And I would say don't do that. My mom, like I said, was a member. I grew up with Sir Optimus. I always thought that we would serve together. She passed away unexpectedly when I was 30. I just turned 30, and I missed that opportunity. So I immediately went ahead and joined. People say like, I'm so busy, I have my kids and they're so busy and they have sports. One thing, and this is a little bit of a soapbox that I get on as a mother. My kids know that when I miss, they know what I'm doing. And if it's, a game, they understand that the world doesn't revolve around them. And I think it's more important to teach our kids that sometimes it's our responsibility to give back in a way that we can. They know that if I'm missing a game, it's because I'm doing something bigger, to help people that really are in need. I'm giving women an opportunity that they take for granted, of a family that sets standards for them and encourages them. Not everybody has that. So in those moments, I feel proud to say, I know I'm going to miss this game, but here's what I'm doing and this is why it's important. And I think it's important for them to see that expectation so they grow up knowing that it's important to give back. And it doesn't mean you have to give a ton of time. I'm not saying I miss everything with my kids. Sometimes I do miss a meeting and I join from Zoom, from the ball field, and everybody hears the cheering in the background. You just make it work. If it's something that you feel is important, you find the time now. Don't wait, because it may not, you're never going to be like, I have nothing to do, let me get involved in the community. It'll feel better when you get involved and you know you're making the time and you see the change that you're making. So whether it's us or something through your church, don't wait to do it, just get involved.
I love it. Y'all heard it here. Get involved. I love it. I love
Get
it. Thank you
involved.
so much.
Feels
Thank
good.
you. You're so great. So great.